Today we're making new friends. We're building a community. And we're still doing all the things we love. We're getting the most out of every day. One day we'll rest, but not today.
Good morning and welcome to the Nine Bowling Club in Lower Hutt for day 2 of the Bowls3Five Interclub finals, where 10 clubs from around New Zealand are vying for 2 places in Bowls3Five on Sky Sport later in the year. We are now down through to our final 4 sides. It is semi-final time now here at Nine. Semi-final 1, Nelson taking on Henuera, who are trying to get back in the league after being relegated last year. And semi-final 2, it is the Parajacks up against the Hastings Hornets. The game we're going to be broadcasting for you. First up, it is Nelson up against Henuera. Nelson with Richard Collett, Joe Edwards and Val Smith up against Henuera's Paul Casey Jr., Stu Settle and Debbie White. And the winners of these 2 semi-finals will go through to Bowls3Five on Sky Sport later in the year to join these 6 sides: Elmwood Park Saints, Stokes Valley Vipers, Gore Rams, Stoke Thunder, Point Chevalier Pirates and Manurewa Kites. The winners of these 2 semi-finals will join those 6 sides in Bowls3Five on Sky Sport later in the year. But the players are ready to go. Let's send it up to my co-commentator, Kevin Hickland.
So welcome to this semi-final of the Bowls3Five Interclub here at the Nine Club in Wellington. And the semi-final we're featuring is the Nelson side, Val Smith, Richard Collett, Joe Edwards, up against the Henuera side, Paul Casey, Debbie White and Stuart Settle. And we'll have you bowl by bowl action right throughout this semi-final.
Straight into action here as well. Paul Casey Jr. off the front for Henuera, the only side we haven't been able to show you throughout the 5 rounds of section play. So it's great that they have made it through to the semi-final stage. Of course, the Heat, who were relegated from Bowls3Five season 3, looking to take their place right back in season 4 later this year against this star-studded Nelson triple. Val Smith and Joe Edwards, 2 of New Zealand's greatest ever players. Richard Collett, who's also played for the Blackjacks, playing in the middle, against Paul Casey Jr., Debbie White and Stu Settle, who we all became accustomed to over the last couple of seasons of Bowls3Five.
Well, of course, as well, Brendan, this opportunity for Nelson would just add more to this CV of what's happened with the Nelson Bowling Club this year in the Nelson Centre this year for the achievements that they have on the green. And of course it coincides with the return back to New Zealand of both Joe Edwards and Val Smith, and we've seen Nelson so strong in some of the events this year.
Oh, they've been to the 4 over the last few months, haven't they?
They
Winning the women's inter-centre title. Nelson, Joe Edwards and Val Smith, a key part of that. And then winning for the Nelson Bowling Club the women's interclub title as well, and now trying to win the Bowls3Five interclub. But for them, the big prize really is just getting through the final, because that guarantees a place in Bowls3Five on Sky Sport later in the year. Big round of applause for Richard Collett. There's a good little support crew here as well for the Nelson side. So enjoying that bowl from the Nelson number 2, Debbie White, named in the Blackjacks for the World Bowls Championships last year, but unfortunately, of course, due to COVID, they never took place. They're still waiting for that first opportunity in New Zealand colours. There's Deb White.
Trying to get to the Richard Collett bowl, sits it out cleanly.
What a response from Debbie White.
Search through those front bowls.
Great reply.
And I think we'll see Richard Collett now. He'll endeavour to play a similar shot to what White's played, but certainly, no, he's not. Get into the the draw, trying to get inside the bowl. Well, of course, Joe Edwards, we know, on carpet, has got a fantastic record on carpet. Stu Settle, of course, was part of the Hinuera heat side in the Bowls3Five and the TV event, so used to playing on the carpet. And that shot of Debbie White, certainly a great confidence booster on the first end as the skips change over.
Yeah, this is probably the players that have played the most regularly for the Heat over the 2 seasons of Bowls3Five on Sky Sports. So and that's why they've been given the opportunity to try and win the Heat back their place in that competition.
Stewie Settle, you know, the icons of Bowls Waikato and of Hinuera, of course, because the Hinuera club, 9 kilometres just out of Matamata, the original land where the club is now based was the Grandad Settle. That was the farm. That was and now is the famous Hinuera Bowling Club, and the Settle name, and has been so synonymous with bowls in the region. It's still one shot. The Debbie White shot bowl was Joe Edwards. Her first bowl just slides by. We'll see now Stewie Settle, who's been on the wider side with his first bowl. Patron of Bowls Waikato as well.
And of course, Hinuera, we were here when they won the first Bowls3Five Interclub to win their place, so that they know what it's like to come through this competition throughout the country and to make it to this stage.
We've seen that change that we thought. Joe Edwards, I think, is going to play with a lot more now attacking weight to that bowl. I heard the call from Richard Cotter that playing it with weight right through the head could leave the Nelson side holding 3 shots. So Edwards will play with weight down on that forehand. And that's Julie what she's doing, looking for the shot bowl as Joe Edwards to get it clean, got the jack.
And spat it out the side, I think, so it's going to be respotted.
I think it'll be Val Smith with the shot.
Yeah, looks like it. So it should be 1, I believe, to Nelson. They certainly have got the shot. Just waiting confirmation yet. They've got the lollipop coming up the green. So 1 it is indeed for Nelson. They strike firsts in this semi-final. There's so much on the line. The winner not only goes through to this afternoon's final, but through to the main game, Bowls3Five on Sky Sport later in the year. So Nelson 1, leading Hinuera 0.
Well, it's interesting, Brett, and of course in both semi-finals, we have got 2 sides trying to get back into the Bowls3Five televised event, and 2 sides trying to enter into the Bowls3Five televised event
For the first time,
for the first time. So there's a lot at stake for all teams.
And at the moment, it's going the way of the sides trying to get their way in for the first time, because Hastings are leading the Parajacks 1-0 after the first end of 5 first set in the other semi-final, which is taking place alongside this one. We're on rank 8 here at 9i. Rank 6 is the other semi-final, which we will be able to cross to when some big moments no doubt happen, depending on how this game progresses as well.
And you see here on the second end, the opening bowls from Paul Casey and Val Smith, both of them just sitting on the outside of that inner circle, which we're playing on the second circle. It's a 3/4 length head. As we watch Val Smith bowl breaking in towards that circle now, just going to go by. We'll go sit just outside. Paul Casey Jr. will follow the bowl, the Val Smith bowl on his forehand. Great support always for the Hinuera Club, and of course Nelson Club, with a great number of their locals who made their way across the straight. And here at 9i, as we see Paul Casey draw literally right alongside the jack. Richard Collett, of course, represented the Blackjacks, won the New Zealand singles in 2009, then went on to represent New Zealand at the Commonwealth Games in Delhi in 2010, endeavouring to get down to the shot bowl or the jack. Is it going to get all the way? Turn it right through their head. Magnificent bowl from the Nelsonian.
No, 2 great bowls. First, Paul Casey Jr., and again the reply from Richard Collett. Last time he came up with a cracker, Debbie White responded with a bomb of her own. See what she's got in store at this time. So It's really bowl for bowl. It's changing the situation each time. That's what you like to see. Been a very high quality start to the semi-final, and Debbie White does not like that one. Turns her back on it. Narrow, as you can see, going well under the line. Playing with the weight to disrupt proceedings, but did not get the right line. I think that may be right in the limit of this rink.
So Richard Collett changing his hand now, endeavouring to get past his own shot bowl on the backhand to sit the Paul Casey Junior bowl out. Looks as though that too is under the line. Have good weight. Certainly got draw weight, and that's handy around the head, that's for sure, although it doesn't get the ultimate result for the Nelson side. Very handy, so Debbie White will just endeavour to improve that line from her first bowl on this, the second end of the first set. And she's done just that. More than likely overcorrected, certainly had the weight to get some contact, just ran into the back of that Richard Collett bowl.
It was only a slight overcorrection, wasn't it? Just a touch too wide after being narrow with her first. And she had to make the correction. Just a bit too much of the green, so it hasn't changed the situation. Great bowls from Paul Casey Jr. and Richard Collett. The bowls closer to the jack.
Hastings, as we saw in that last game, Brendan, would certainly hold. They 4 tie breaks they played throughout the round robin.
From 4, and they won 3 of them. So every game going to a tiebreaker end. So it just shows how tight this competition has been. Lose one more of those tie breaks and they miss out.
Simple as that, isn't it? So Joe Evans endeavouring to get to that Paul Casey bowl, just going to go on the outside of the bowl, but certainly in the target area. Stuart Settle will try and play on the forehand that shot of at Debbie White, endeavoured to play to reach up through that bowl, turn the Paul Casey bowl. Looks as though that's tight though, and it is.
Of course, we brought you Nelson's game against Tiley in round 2 of Section 2 yesterday afternoon. And that was Nelson's only defeat in section play, and lost in straight sets to Tiley in what was a pretty big upset. Otherwise, Nelson beat Takapuna in a very close affair, 3-all, 4-2, that result. And then in round 3, an 8-1, 5-3 win over Royal Oak, and then a tiebreaker end victory over Hastings. So they had a number of very tight contests, as well as that defeat to Tiley.
So Joe Edwards just endeavouring to draw to the Paul Casey bowl, just a couple of bowls wide, but certainly in the area. Stu Settle trying to correct that line from his first bowl. Looks as though that's on that tighter line again, and will be. And that will be the, again, Nelson scoring a single. Richard Collett bowl.
Yeah, holds on, so no change to the situation there. One more for Nelson. One turns into 2 now, so 2-0. They lead Henueta after 2 ends of 5. First set. This is one of our 2 semi-finals here at the Bowls3Five Interclub Finals. Another semi-final between Parajacks and Hastings, and that is completing the second end of the first set after the Hastings Hornets took the first set against the Parajacks. Reminding you the winner of the semi-finals earns a place in the Bowls3Five main game proper in Sky Sport later this year in October, November and December.
Great opening bowl on this, the third end by Val Smith, the Nelson lead. Just sits right alongside the jack. Paul Casey endeavour to follow the
doesn't like that one, Paul Casey,
no,
because he tosses his,
very quickly.
his rag up. Yeah, upset with that one. Is that going to come up short?
Can't overstate, Brendan, as we've spoken about this throughout this coverage, the importance that the lead gives you in this particular shortened version of the game.
Absolutely.
And with only 5 ends now, the lead plays such a crucial role in making sure that your head starts off on a positive note. And Joe Edwards looking at this bowl of Val Smith's as well, going to just be short of the jack, but still A good start of the head for the Nelson side. Holding shot. Paul Casey endeavouring to improve on his first bowl. And again, that looks as though that's going to disappear under the line and be short. And because that's the, as we've spoken about, Brendan, those are the things, of course, which put immediate pressure on the side. Two short bowls just cuts your shot options off as well, have been able to attack the hit. So really,
that side's really been blocked up now by those two short bowls from Paul Casey Jr. So the backhand's are only option now for the right-handed players. Richard Collett really has the chance to really pile the pressure here on Henrietta early in this third end of 5. It's going to be the third shot. It comes up a bit short, but
and it's only a drawing head, Brendan. You can't. There's nothing. You can't. There's nothing there that you can attack. So it's only a drawing head. And that's the importance of what Val Smith has done so early on in this particular head, and puts the pressure very much on N3 on the Henrietta side. And Debbie White certainly got a better line, but again, that's going to slide short, and that's now just making that whole area so much more difficult for the Henrietta side to get to the scoring opportunity. And I'm sure we're going to see Collett now. Joe Edwards will be more than happy if Richard Collett is over the head, just giving some protection. Holding two shots is Nelson. And Collett, as we thought, would be quite happy with that. With the Nelson side, he's played a good couple of metres over the head. And so the draw line for Debbie White has to get past her own black or navy bowl there, and to get down to the Val Smith bowl to reduce the number as the skips change over on N3 of 5. And so this is a good attempt from White. This is a great attempt.
Oh, it's come up with nothing. Very unfortunate. Just slides past the head. As Kevin said, great attempt, but still holding 3 as the skips change over on Nelson.
And Debbie White, to be fair to her, had to play with it, had to make sure that she was over the head. Otherwise, she was just going to make it more difficult to get down there. And she was only literally, well, a couple of inches away, really, from making some contact on the jack.
Very, very close. And you know what it does do, like you said, because she played with that weight and went past, it doesn't block up that side. So the shot's still on for Stu Settle.
It certainly is. And Joe Edwards will really endeavour now to draw down into the inside circle, and is going to just go by, but if he sat in the circle would definitely count. But a good covering bowl, a lot of pressure here on Settle. 2 down on the board, and down 2 or 3 on the head on this, the third of 5 ends.
It might even be 4 after that last bowl from Joe Edwards.
It's a good attempt here from Stu Settle.
There's a good attempt.
There's a superb attempt.
Falls out, but still, they'll cut it to 1, I think.
It is 1. Richard Collett very quickly just saying it's the 1. Well played there by Stu Settle, because the head was certainly looking very, very challenging for the Henrietta side. Joe Edwards now will endeavour to draw to the Stu Settle bowl, which is behind the head. This is on a good line, just got to break in towards it now, and is doing so, needs to get past the, he does so. And two down, two shots to Nelson. So Stu Settle trying to draw like he did with his first, which is a pretty good attempt on the wide side, not going to.
So it'll be another 2 to Nelson. So 4-0. They now lead Henrietta. 3 ends of 5 played. First set, in command of this first set as they look to earn their place in Bowls3Five on Sky Sport later this year. Now the semi-final is currently on the 3rd end between Parajacks and Hastings, and it's Hastings leading 3-0 after 2. So it's the 2 sides looking to play their way in for the first time. We're leading their sets against the sides who are trying to get back in. Henrietta relegated last year. Parajacks relegated the year before, season 2 of Bowls3Five.
And immediately we're seeing, Brendan, as we've spoken about, Val Smith draws very, very close towards the jack, just on the outside of that inner ring. Immediately just starts to hit well for Nelson. And Paul Casey endeavouring now to draw to the Val Smith bowl. And this is on a good line, down a come inside, or just go by, needs to sit inside. Well played by the Hinuera lead, and that's the shot, sits right on top of the Val Smith bowl.
Yeah, they needed that, did the heat. There's been some good bowls from Val Smith, as you mentioned, Kevin off the front. Paul Casey needed to match the Blackjacks legend, and did so. Now, Val Smith with her second.
Going to be
Looks
under
narrow.
the line.
It's going to pretty decent finish though.
Paul Casey endeavouring now with his second bowl on this, the fourth end, to give another shot on the head for the Hinuera heat. And it's on a good line, certainly. Just question now, is it going to, it will be 2 shots, sits inside that inner circle, and Stu Settle indicating, yep, that's 2. So Richard Collett now, the number 2 for Nelson.
Just what Hinuera needed. Putting some pressure now on Nelson.
Under the line.
And it's not going to change the count. Moves in one of the Val Smith bowls, but
So Stu Settle just saying, we've got 1.5. Debbie White, the previous New Zealand singles title holder.
yeah, Carlton Cornwall in Auckland 2019, winning that women's singles title in a dramatic final against Selena Smith, coming from well down to take that one. Real heart stopper to claim her first national title, Deb White. And she obviously went on to the world champion and champion singles as Richard Collett with a touch-up. Trails the jack back and changing the situation. So from Hinuera holding shot, now clearly Nelson control of the head.
Well played there by Richard Collett, just played with just a fraction over the draw weight and got that touch on the jack, moved it through the port, stayed with it, and the Val Smith bowl, one of her 2 bowls, is the shot. Here's White now endeavouring to draw through the port to sit on the Collett bowl. Has it got the weight to do so? No, it won't. Just ran into the Paul Casey bowl.
Yeah, need a yard extra weight in it to try and get inside that Collett bowl, grab the shot back for Hinuera. So as the skips change over, it's again Nelson and Joe Edwards. He's more happier of the 2. Stu Settle again with work to do. Otherwise this set is fast getting away from them. Really, you think Hinuera have to score on this 4th end, stay in the first set, especially if they don't use their power play.
Playing the quality of this particular side, Brenton, yeah, you want to, well, you need to get 1 or 2 on this particular end to give yourself a chance. And here's Edwards endeavouring just to draw past those front bowls. Will do so. Goes to the back of the head. You'll see there down towards the deepest bowl, just outside that, the furthest most circle. Stu Settle here, the skip for the Hinuera heat. Having to draw the shot. And gets past his front bowls. He'll be very close. This is a good bowl here from Stu Settle. Draws right
great
past.
bowl. And there's the one finger goes up from Debbie White, indicating that is indeed the shot. Expertly done by the Hinuera heat skip.
Joe Edwards will try now to draw to the Stu Settle shot bowl.
Well, when she has been put under pressure, she has delivered. Joe Edwards hasn't been put under pressure too much by Hinuera so far in the semi-final.
On a good line here, just needs to get past the front and runs into the front bowls, turns the Val Smith bowl over, won't make any change, and will be Stu Settle's first bowl, which remains the shot. He'll endeavour really trying to get that second to give them a stronger chance to going into that last end. Just question the weight as it goes past us here. Debbie White looking at this bowl closely. There's another good bowl for Scott.
Just unfortunate it got a piece of that, otherwise may have been good enough to get 2. So just the 1 for Henrietta, but they are on the board for the first time in the semi-final. So it's now Nelson leading Henrietta 4-1 after 4 ends of 5. First set, so 5th and final end to come.
And of course, Brendan, you know, it's not as though you have to win the set. You can, a draw, you know, a draw looks, no extra ends, so a draw is a draw so far as the set's concerned. And we have seen quite a number.
Thinking about the power play here, a bit of a conversation going on between the Heat trio, or are they just working out the length?
So there is a
long
conversation
discussion here, aren't they? Paul Casey Jr., Debbie White, and there it comes. Stu Setter with the power play call. So they were thinking about it. I like it. It's an aggressive move. Why not? If they can pick up a 2 here, they win the first set. And they've got the confidence, having just scored in the last end. So it is the Henrietta power play.
I think this is the first time I've seen the first set called.
Absolutely.
For the power
why
play.
not do it in the semi-final when so much on the line? Oh, I love the aggressive move.
Well, it keeps you, you know, it keeps you really alive playing that last end, doesn't it? And then, you know, it's like a game of chess. You go.
Well, they know how difficult it's going to be to score a 3 against Nelson here. So you'd be pretty much riding off the first set. But instead, call the power play. If you can get a 2, you win the set.
So that'll be the.
And then the only way you can lose is on a tiebreaker end if you win the first set.
So Henrietta endeavouring. The game plan is to score 2 shots. That's the game plan here from the Henrietta Heat.
Yeah, because if you are unfamiliar with the game of Bowls3Five, each team has a power play they're able to call on an end in the 2 sets. And another toucher from Val Smith, been very good off the front for Nelson. And whatever you score on your power play, if you do score, it is doubled. So that's why if Henrietta score a 2, it'll be doubled to 4, of course, and they'll take the first set 5-4.
Val Smith has been very, very impressive throughout. As we watch this bowl of Paul Casey's, has it got the weight? This is where.
Yeah, the same as what happened last time playing this way. Paul Casey Jr. coming up short. This is what you don't want on your power play.
Well, I was going to say, Brendan, especially after you've called the power play, you must be up to the head. That's just.
Because now it's 2 bowls.
They've got
really
4
out
bowls,
of play.
They've got 4 bowls to score 2 shots.
Get the 2, exactly. Really putting the pressure on Debbie White, Stu Settle to come up with that 2 now. Paul Casey Jr. will be disappointed with himself. Val Smith, her second now.
And certainly been very consistent. Has the blackjack legend. Joe Edwards pretty keen on this one as it breaks towards the head now. And it's outside. Debbie White
right on that circle.
Debbie White will follow that same line.
Yeah, that's the target now. Try and just come on the inside of that second bowl of Val Smith's and track towards the jack.
So play on that forehand line, trying to play inside the Val Smith bowl. That's the object here for Debbie White. Looks as though it's on a good line to do so, and will do
look
so.
At that.
And draws right alongside the jack for shot.
Came in between those 2 bowls, the short bowl of Paul Casey and the pretty much jack level bowl of Val Smith, right towards the jack. Touch up, wonderfully played from Debbie White. So that's 1.
That's 1.
They need 2 on their power play to win this first set. They rolled the dice with their power play, and Debbie White's given them a chance. Richard Collett's going to come up well short with his first, and Debbie White will just try and come through that passage again. It's been narrowed somewhat with that Richard Collett bowl.
Well, Debbie White's line is really that outside bowl of Val Smith, because if he draws 1 bowl inside that, Brendan, that would leave them holding 2 shots. With, of course, Richard Collett still with one to play.
On a wider line.
Will it come back far enough? No, it won't. Going to sit outside the Val Smith, and more than likely needed another, possibly a couple of feet of weight. Richard Collett now on his forehand will endeavour to improve Because the other big advantage which Nelson hold on this head is they do have a bowl over the head as well, that bowl at Val Smith's, which means that Joe Edwards can search for the bowl. As they were watching closely, this bowl of Collett's Weathers just runs into the front bowls.
Yeah, it wasn't far away.
Stewie Settle just looking to see whether that line there is still on the draw. It is. So the draw line for him now is just inside that Richard Collett bowl.
Very tight margin to come through there between those two Collett bowls, the short bowl and then the one, the shortest of those grouping of three bowls to the left of screen. He's going to try and come through there. That forehand side on the draw. Trying to add a second to the count for Henueta. Interested in this one.
Just questioning how quick it is, though. Brendan's going by, but there's no sense of being short. You got to.
Yeah, the weight was good. The weight was good. Just didn't quite have the line right, did he?
The line is just inside that Richard Collett bowl, and I just wondering whether Joe Edwards is going to attack or endeavour to draw. It looks as though going to follow the Richard Collett line on the forehand, because if Joe Edwards beats that of the Richard Collett bowl, we'll be close to actually getting the shot.
And also, she does have the final bowl as well.
Absolutely.
So she can wait to see what Stu Settle does, and if Stu Settle can't improve the one, then it doesn't really matter. He'll still win the first set. And
turning
improved that bowl. I don't think it's quite good enough for shots. I think it's just outside the inner circle, whereas the dead white ball was inside the inner circle.
Well, the good thing really for the Henueta side is it does enable them to play up to the bowl, and we're going to see Stu Settle, I think, just wait in.
False start with all the players moving just on the rink alongside.
So Settle, if he play with that same weight he did with his first, he doesn't like it. So this safely now
And
puts
now
the first set.
Doesn't need to play and won't play.
Won't play.
Just rolls it down the other end. So it is one for Henueta on their power play. But unfortunately for them, the roll of the dice didn't quite come off. So they lose the first set 4-3. Nelson take it 4-3. And they go a step closer to a place in Bowls3Five on Sky Sport later in the year.
Some people might question Brendan why Stu Settle did call the power play then. Well, when you're playing to get back into the televised event, you know, one end can be, you know, the big thing. And his idea was, we're going to back ourselves to score 2 shots.
And absolutely, I back that move.
Yeah.
And quite often you see the power play just used as insurance policy at the end, and it's often wasted. So
well,
to
that
be
was used for an attack,
yeah, exactly,
to try and win the set.
Exactly. And you can't really disagree with that. It's bringing up to date with the happenings in the other game. It's coming to the end of the first set as well. And it's Hastings who are leading the Parajacks 4-1 after 4 of the 5 ends. They're currently playing the 5th first set action in our other semi-final on rink number 6. We're here on the televised rink number 8 here at the 9i Bowling Club in Lower Hutt. Semi-final action from the Bowls3Five Interclub finals. The winners not only go to this afternoon's final, but they go to the Bowls3Five on Sky Sport later in the year, taking place again October, November and early December.
Very impressive. You know, I'll say it again, Brendan, the work that Val Smith is doing off the front for the Nelson side. If you look at these 2 bowls here on the first end of the second set, just with only been a 5-end set, you know, certainly if your lead is giving you that start of which we've seen Val Smith do on a multiple ends, certainly puts you in a good position. As we see now, Paul Casey trying to get to the Val Smith bowl of the jack, just going to be short of the line, only slightly though. So you may be able to hit Joe Edwards saying to Richard Collett, confident draw down here, because any movement of the jack on the draw, it certainly doesn't go to a detrimental effect on the Nelson side. And Joe Edwards just reminding Richard Collett they haven't taken enough green. So Debbie White can change your hand. Good opportunity here just to play on the backhand to the Paul Casey bowl. Of course, jack movement is in favour of the Hinuera side, with Paul Casey bowl just in behind the head. So here's White on the backhand trying to get some movement in towards the jack or the shot bowl. And just going to go outside that Paul Casey bowl. And Joe Edwards won't be too concerned if this bowl of Richard Collett's actually reaches over the head, because Hinuera do have 2 bowls in over the head for any jack movement. Collett again is going to be, needs to sit on the Casey bowl. And of course, I'm picking, it'd be now 1-2 Hinuera. Yeah, play to the bowl, he said you can make another one for Debbie White on that backhand. And holding the bowls in behind the head is Hinuera. So here's White on her backhand, trying to reach up to the Val Smith bowl. It's on a good line, this bowl of Debbie White's, gets a touch on the bowl, turns it through. Still be the 1 shot to Hinuera. We'll just wait that to be confirmed by the marker, and it is. Michael Johnson, the marker, confirms that. It is 1 shot to Hinuera as the skips change over. I just wonder what sort of weight, Brenton, that Joe Edwards, she can't attack it too strongly because we're not really having any bowls in a good effective position over the head. I think you might see Edwards try play underneath the Val Smith bowls and get to the Paul Casey bowl, and just as Val Smith was talking there, and she can make contact onto the Val Smith bowls as well.
Yeah, it looks like that'll be the option for Joe Edwards as she makes her way back to the mat. First set of the other semi-finals gone the way of Hastings, 5-1 over the Parajacks in the first set. So just like Nelson, advantage Hastings in their semi-final.
So Joe Edwards endeavouring to make contact with this Val Smith bowl, does so, moves both of the bowls around. And
has it changed the situation?
Still got it, was the call from Debbie White.
Fair effort from Joe Edwards. She
absolutely
managed to move both of those Val Smith bowls, one in towards the jack, but not quite enough, indicated by Deb White that that Paul Casey bowl still holding shot.
Well, it's a game of centimetres to get the result, isn't it? The bowl of Stuart Settle's not going to make its way all to the head. You know, I wonder now whether we're going to see, because Joe Edwards can literally play the same sort of shot, because Val Smith bowl, which is sitting directly in behind the jack as well, and that's the, looks the way that Joe Edwards is going to endeavour to play. So Edwards endeavouring to play through to that Hinuera shot bowl with weight. It certainly is on a forehand, looking for the bowl just outside the bowl.
Oh, great effort from Joe Edwards, trying to get that Paul Casey bowl. Wasn't to be, just really an extra coat on the bowl and would have got it. Now, Stu Settle a chance to add a second here.
He's just
interested as Debbie White.
This is on a good line, this bowler. Stu Settle's trying to get to the jack.
No, it doesn't quite have the weight. Be one to Hinuera. So, Heat are on the board first in this second set, as they need to be, 1-0. They lead Nelson after one end of 5 second set.
Well, only needed, 2 more rolls really, and he would have had a perfect result. Stu Settle, and we've gone to the Just shorten it up. Going to the middle circle there, you'll see. There's Paul Casey desperately needing to get bowls on the head for Stu Settle to start the head off. But yet he's short again, and that's been the challenge for the Hinuera Heat side, whereby Joe Edwards has had the luxury in that first set especially, whereby Val Smith has given the Nelson side a tremendous start with her bowls very much in and around the jack. As we watch his first bolt, Smith's on this, the second end, just going to go under the jack. It just sits outside the ring, but good thing is it's over the head. So Paul Casey now on his backhand. Certainly got a better line with the bowl. Certainly got a draw line to the jack and will be shot.
Yeah, much happier with that. He has struggled a bit this way, isn't he, playing in this direction, but finding his range a lot better there. Pretty much jack level, not quite on line obviously, but pretty close to. And as Kevin mentioned, his shot at the moment is Val Smith. He's been super consistent.
That determined look on. And this is on this bowler, Val Smith, looks to be still on the narrow line, but what's the weight like? It might get inside this. If it gets inside the circle,
yeah, that shot
close to be shot.
Yeah, looks like it is inside the circle, whereas the Paul Casey Jr. bowls just outside, as you can see, just right of screen.
The challenge here is for the Hinuera side playing on that forehand side that you've got to make sure you just get around that Paul Casey jack low bowl. It's just sitting literally on the draw line. And we'll go past a wee bit of weight, which you tend to put on a wee bit more weight because you know you've got to get around the bowl. So Richard Collett now got the advantage of holding the shot. Of course, started his bowls in Counties Manukau. He was playing at Counties Manukau, of course, when he won the singles in 2009. Did Collett drawing inside the bowl, draws us another counter. Now I think that's, I'm pleased to see Stu Settle from the Hinuera Heats side take the advantage of playing where the Nelson side are playing, just more challenging on that other hand to draw it to the jack. Debbie White can play through those two bowls. Don't know if she likes that. Looks to be on the wide side, but you can see there though Brenton is to draw in that port. There's every chance of using one of those bowls to get shot. And you might have heard Joe Edwards say then tidy it up. That means fill that port up, move things around a wee bit, because that shot is certainly there for Stu Settle with the skipper, the Hinuera Heat, the semi-final. And we'll go past, runs into the Casey bowl. In fact, turned it over.
Yeah, I still don't think it's quite close enough. It's very close between all three bowls, but I think you favour the two Nelson bowls.
So
yeah, two.
Still two.
Indication. As the skips now make their way to the mat. Joe Edwards and Stu Settle. Settle to play first. Nelson holding two, but only a very tight two.
So Stu Settle endeavouring to draw through that port where the two shots have been held by the Nelson side. Just needs to come back now. Hasn't got the weight.
Yeah, looked like a good line, didn't it?
Of course, immediately that's really tightened that. That's closed that line off on that hand really now.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a change of hand here, is there?
Well, when you're holding the two shots, which Nelson are holding, there's no need to play where you can knock something around. You've got a clear line on that draw, on that forehand side, Nelson, and that's the price you pay for falling short. Is Edwards. How far is this going to run?
Great ball. Don't think it's quite going to change the situation, but that was pretty perfect.
So you heard the call there. So Stu said,
Debbie White made it clear. Yep, want to play some weight. And the backhand he's going to come with. Trying to attack that short bowl of Val Smith. Push it into the head. He's not far away here. Stu said he's got enough weight.
Not enough weight.
Not enough weight, so it will be two to Nelson.
And that's called by Richard Collett, that bowl, the Hinuera bowl sitting jack level. So that's for Joe Edwards. That's her mark to draw to the inside of that bowl. It draws inside that bowl.
Make it 3.
Certainly would make it 3 for the Nelson side. After, of course, they won that first set by 4 shots to 3. Just needs to get past his Collett, his front bowl, Paul Casey's, and that's the draw area that we spoke
look
about.
At that. Expertly done. 2 great bowls from Joe Edwards. The second one counts. Stu Settle wasn't far away, but it's a 3 to Nelson. So 3-1. They now lead after 2 of 5 ends. Second set. Playing the second end in the other semi-final. It's Hastings who took the first set 5-1, and they took the first end 1-0 as well. So they're leading 1-0, playing the second end of 5 second set after taking the first. So Hastings looking in a good position, just as Nelson are here, having won the first set and now leading 3-1 in the second.
Well, that means that if that was to eventuate, you've got 2 new sides in the Bowls3Five televised event to join the other 6 sides that are there. And so the start that Val Smith is giving the Nelson side just makes it, just gives you that game control and not searching really for shots, because that consistency around the circle. And that's it. I keep saying that, the circle is the jack, and if you can be drawing around that circle, you're going to have bowls around the head consistently, and that's what we've seen. Val Smith has certainly been doing that right throughout this match.
He's been very, very good off the front. She apologises though this time. Sorry, mate, didn't like that one. So, because of death from the commentators.
It was certainly on a good line. But it means that Paul Casey will go to his backhand.
It's a rare miss from Val Smith as well. Not seeing much of that in the 7 ends to date in this contest.
I know it's early days in this particular set really, but we're playing the 3rd end. Nelson leading 3-1. This is a crunch end for Hinuera, and Paul Casey started off with 2 short bowls, which has been one of the stumbling blocks, of course, for Hinuera. So, this really is the end that you stay in the game.
Absolutely it is, especially if they don't have that power play up their sleeve. They used it, if you just joined us, they used it in the first set on that final end to try and snatch the first set. They trailed 4-1 playing the last and decided to play their power play. They scored only 1. They needed 2 to grab the first set, so it didn't come off.
So Nelson, of course, with the added advantage of not using their power play
they have
today,
theirs exactly up their sleeve.
So they've got this end. I don't want to try and forecast too far ahead, but this end really here could literally be the deciding end for this match.
Yeah, Hinuera simply must win it, you'd think, to give themselves a real chance. Otherwise, if Nelson win it, especially if they pick up a multiple like they did in the previous end.
They saw Debbie White get a feather.
Yeah, gets a little fortune off that wide bowl.
Second shot. It's these shots that they need. And Richard Collett will just endeavour to come past that Val Smith bowl. And I like this bowl as it's coming down towards the jack now. Just got a feather off the bowl. Sits in front of the jack. That's a big bowl.
Beautifully played. Really put the pressure back on Hinuera, doesn't it?
Really, Hinuera they have to, with a yard of weight, they actually have to follow the line of Richard Collett's, because their only line to the jack is on that hand. There's no line to the jack on the other hand now, because the Richard Collett bowl really covers that up. But playing with that yard of weight under the Val Smith bowl, remembering, of course, that there's a Paul No, that's of course Richard Collett's bowl at the rear of the head. The Paul Casey Bowles was short. So, to me, the best percentage shot is a yard of weight under the Val Smith bowl.
So that's that black and white bowl, which is just short on the left-hand side of the screen.
Yeah, that's the best scoring
target.
Because there's no shot option now with that Richard Collett bowl at the front. On the other hand, and the danger is that you're going to have to try and dead draw the shot, and then the likelihood that you fall short by trying to dead draw it, and that just leaves it open. And this is the end, as we've said, Brandon, where Hinuera Heat, they've got to score, so it's important they take percentage shots rather than saving shots. They've got to play a percentage shot to try and put themselves in a scoring position on this end.
Debbie White's just been taking a long, hard look at the head. No, she's 2 down, looking for herself, what she needs to play. Speaking with her skip, Stu Settle. So here she comes on the forehand side. Yeah, I don't think she likes it.
No, that's a shot that it was just the line.
Yeah, didn't quite have the line. She was about a foot wide.
But that was what they had
needed
to play.
Needed to play the weight, absolutely, to reach the target. So it's up Stu Settle now.
Well, the advantage, of course, that Nelson have on this end, of course, Richard Collett bowl is the deepest bowler on the rink down towards that circle. I think we'll see Joe Edwards will try and play out to the side of the head. What she's really saying to Stu Settle is, you've only got 1 shot available to play.
You try and do it.
You try and do it. I'm not going to give you 2 shots to play.
Exactly. And all her experience, Joe Edwards, in big matches around the world. She'll know exactly the situation.
And she'll be more than happy as long as Joe Edwards is over the head, and she is. And so that doesn't change anything to the advantage of the Hinuera side. Still, it's the only shot that they've got on.
We get 2 attempts at it, Stu Settle. First time around now. Looks on a better line, but maybe there's a bit narrow. Yeah, so overcorrection really from the one Debbie White played. The right weight, you think? Or
yeah,
maybe a bit
the
more?
weight's not bad, but,
yeah.
but the vision line for Stu Settle has to be the Val Smith bowl. Not, the danger is you take your line aiming at the jack. The vision line is that bowl of Val Smith, the white bowl out there. That's where you know that you've got to be at the breaking point. That's where you need to. And there's 2 Doyens sitting there.
Yeah, John Macbeth and Grant Nisbet, Doyens of sports broadcasting in New Zealand, no doubt about that. And Simon Poppleton, who they've played with just to the left of the screen. Takapuna Wave Skip, who's played with at past nationals in the 4s.
John Macbeth's birthday tomorrow.
And yours, Kevin Hickland.
Yes, it is. And Donald Trump's.
Yeah, let's not mention that.
So, Joe Edwards putting the cover in, which is definitely the right option. Jack Trail favours. Yeah, that's the only shot on. This really, Brendan, is...
So is it 3rd time lucky for Hinuera?
Got more.
Need to come up with something here.
It's got more weight.
Yeah, hasn't got the right line though. It's going to run into the short bowl. It's going to push it in towards the head. And has it maybe just changed the situation? No, it is still 2, so it didn't push it far enough in. There's that Richard Collett bowl and the Val Smith bowl, which are the shots. So Nelson now 2 ends to play. Second set leading 5-1 over Hinuera. Yeah. Discussing whether they're going to call their power play. They are. So Joe Edwards with the power play for Nelson. And so they're already in command, and they can really wrap things up here.
Well, they can put it completely beyond.
Absolutely. Yeah, they can secure their place in Bowls3Five on Sky Sport right here in this end, the power play. Having won the first set, 5-1 up now in the second.
So Val Smith endeavouring to just with that consistency that she's been playing in and around the jack. And there she is again. The toucher sits just alongside it. And that, I just can't say enough of the difference that Val Smith has brought to this, this particular semi-final.
It's an unfamiliar position for her as well.
Yeah, but
leading, but she's been brilliant off the front for Nelson. Just bringing you up to date with the other semi-final, which we may indeed cross to if this is all wrapped up virtually on this end. And that is Hastings leading 3-0. They're playing the third end of 5-second set. Hastings won the first set 5-1. So Hastings in a very good position there. But Nelson, they can wrap things up on this end. The power play has been used by Hinuera. They don't have it up their sleeve.
So two very, very good bowls. Look at this from Val Smith. It does give a rest there for the Hinuera side, but knowing, you know, they really, when they've got to score a minimum of 2 on this end to give themselves a chance playing that 15, it's a big ask. And Casey, it's become that much harder now because both of the Hinuera bowls have been removed now off the rink, with Paul Casey playing with weight. So so the spot is the option, the best option.
2 metre mark is where Joe Edwards wants Richard Collett to go to, knowing that Hinuera playing aggressively here on the Nelson power play end after that start off the front that Val Smith has given Nelson. So he's well short of the target there, Richard Collett. And he's pretty much right bottom of screen is where he's trying to go. Right out of picture. So he's finished a good couple of metres short where he wanted to be.
So Debbie White will play with weight to try and move things around a bit. Turns it back very quickly on that. Just going to go by.
It's not a bad
That's
bowl.
A pretty good bowl. Falls in, might be.
I would never turn my back on one of them.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, certainly. It's still 2. It's Val Smith and Nelson, but not a bad effort from Debbie White. And now Joe Edwards, bit of change of plan for Richard Collett. So having called for him to play to the 2 metre mark, now saying, let's try and play on the inside, perhaps of that.
Well, again,
of Deb White, but play with a bit of extra weight.
Well, it nullifies in the 2-shot possibility then for Hinuera. Going to be under the head is Richard Collett. Weight's good and around the circle, and you know the option here for Debbie White is to really try and play down to sit on the shot bowl to make.
She's going to change hands here, so now play on the forehand Debbie White and try and get on the outside of the outside bowl of Val Smith and try and trail towards the jack if she can. She needs a feather and she came a bit narrow and is going to miss everything. So what she was trying to do was just get on the inside of that shorter bowl, which is the Val Smith black and white bowl. And if she got on the inside of that, might even trail towards the jack and move back towards her other bowl and
with that
possibly turn it to 2.
There was every opportunity she may have moved both of those bowls as well. So it was the right weight to play. It was the right shot to play at this stage of the game. Joe Edwards really at this point in time doesn't have to do a lot, just cover around where there's some
maybe try and get a bowl around that Deb White bowl, which is just to the right of the jack, just past the head.
And you can see from the weight being played
playing for that cover, getting to the 2 metre mark if she can. And looks like she's done exactly that.
There it is, right under the number and on that 2 metre mark. So
that's below our picture, is where that bowl has ended up from Joe Edwards.
I still think the shot for Stu Settle is the shot that Debbie White played, and actually with that same weight. And let's take the gamble. We can get a touch on that. We can move the jack, or perhaps even move the bowls, because there's not many shot options there, really, Brenton, to be fair. And this the 4th end of the 2nd set of the semi-final between Nelson and the Hinuera heat. Nelson winning the 1st set, Hinuera trying to win the 2nd set to get through to possibly make the final, to play once again in the televised event. And it'll all come down to the next 2 bowls. Stu Settle, but big challenge ahead of them. And it's on that line that we spoke about. It's going to be under the line. Is it going to get the jack? Gets the jack, it might.
Oh, wasn't far away. Good effort from Stu Settle.
Now,
just a touch narrow.
there is a chance there for them now to play down that line with just a fraction more weight, only a fraction more weight, and there's a chance of a 3-shot draw. Just a movement of the jack about 12 to 15 inches. And it's interesting, Joe Edwards endeavouring to put a bowl in that area, which is going to be not far away. That one does, it'll cut that line off, and does.
Yeah, cuts down that opportunity now. Makes it even tougher.
So that moves that jack trail. So here, Settle changes hand and trying to get onto the shot bowl in the back of the jack and move it a few centimetres back to where Hinuera have got two bowls. And this is a good attempt from Stu Settle. It's a very, very good attempt.
Oh, it's not going to change the situation though. Still 2 to Nelson on their power play. Just waiting for confirmation of that.
Shake hands.
And it's shake hands time. There's no need to play on. Congratulations to Nelson Bowling Club. They score a couple on their power play end and go up in a big way. That's what, 9-1, and there's no need for the 5th and final end of this second set. Nelson through to the final in the Bowls3Five Interclub finals, and most importantly, they are through to Bowls3Five on Sky Sport. Joe Edwards will be moving out of the commentary box and on to the green, along with Val Smith and Richard Collett, getting the job done. Impressive showing against Hinuera. I'll make my way greenside for a chat with Joe Edwards, and then we'll bring you some coverage of our other semi-final.
Well, really, that was all done. The start that Joe Edwards got end by end from Val Smith was outstanding, and that set the win really up for the Nelson side, because there wasn't really any ends where Val Smith didn't play bowls. It certainly put them in a strong position, and then when you had Richard Collett and the great Joe Edwards coming behind you, it really put the pressure on the Hinuera Heat side, and it was really, because Paul Casey would be disappointed with his match leading off the front, but a big job on the shoulders of Debbie White and Stu Settle to try and build up scoring heads. Not to be, and we've seen the Nelson side with Val Smith leading, Richard Collett at number 2, and Joe Edwards. Of course, yesterday they lost their match to Tyree, but other than that, they've gone through unbeaten, and they are now deserved finalists, and of course have won their way to one of the 2 spots in the Bowls3Five televised event. Now, Brenda Van Nistelrooy is about to have a chat with Joe Edwards, and I'll pass you over now to Brenda Van Nistelrooy and Joe Edwards.
And Joe, congratulations, Nelson through, and you just keep winning for Nelson. This has been fantastic homecoming.
Look, you did right. It has been, you know. Firstly the Intercentre and then the Interclub, and you know it's a great club, the Nelson Bowling Club, and it's where Val and I started a long time ago, and it's just cool going home, really.
Oh, word on your great mate Val. She was fantastic off the front.
Player of the match, you know. It's just we talk about it, first bowl effectiveness and just putting pressure on the opposition, and she absolutely nailed that today, and let's hope there's more of that for the final.
What does it mean for Nelson Bowling Club to now be part of the competition on Sky Sport?
Look, it means a heap. You know, we're a little one green club. I think there's 16 lady members there, and they've really, I suppose, had a bit of a shift where now, you know, on green is now as important as off green, and you know, they're really so much behind us, and you know, as you can see from the people that have come up to support us, and definitely know that there's people at the Nelson Bowling Club watching today, so big shout out to the Nelson Bowling Club.
Well, we'll now let you get ready to try and win another title for the Nelson Bowling Club in the final to come this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks very much, Brenton.
Yeah, Joe Edwards, a successful skip for Nelson Bowling Club. We'll now bring you some coverage of the other semi-final, that between Hastings and the Parajacks, and the last couple of ends to find out who will be playing Nelson Bowling Club in the final this afternoon.
So one of our finalists, of course, has been found, that being Nelson. And going quickly back over to the Hastings, the Parajack game, I can tell you that I just saw Dean Drummond draw the shot with his last bowl. And of course, Hastings winning the first set in their semi-final. The Hastings Hornets won the first set.
5-1.
5-1. Mark Noble now making his way back to the mat. I'm not sure what the score actually is in that second set. Can't quite see the board from here at present. But I do know that it is Dean Drummond that is holding the shot. There it is 4-0 to the Hastings side, and holding shot. Noble having to, with his last bowl on the drive, trying to dislodge the Dean Drummond bowl. Not going to do so. It's Shake Handstone.
Wow, so we've found the other finalists just like that, and it is the Hastings Bowling Club who are through to Bowls3Five on Sky Sport. So the two sides that have been there before have fallen just short, and Henueta and the Parajacks. The Parajacks' first defeat of this competition truly comes in the semi-final, but looking at their scoreboard, Hastings have been quite comprehensive winners, winning in straight sets. So two early finishes in both of our semi-finals, and it will be Hastings and Nelson who meet in this afternoon's final, and most importantly are the final two sides to join Stokes Valley, Elmwood Park, Gore, Stoke, Point Chevalier and Manurewa in Bowls3Five on Sky Sport later this year. I'll grab a quick chat with Dean Drummond and leave you in the hands of Kevin Hicklin.
Well, we've seen really in both of these semi-finals the importance of the leads, and we saw earlier on, of course, Pam Rowlands, who led exceptionally well for the Hastings Hornets, and did so, of course, in the semi-final, as did Val Smith for the Nelson side. So our two finalists have been found, that of the Nelson side and the Hastings side, the Hornets from Hastings, and I've now got Brendan Van Nistelrooy with Dean Drummond.
Congratulations, Dean. I spoke to you, well, it didn't seem like it was that long ago that you qualified for the semi-finals, but what we saw, that was quite an accomplished and comprehensive, and like you said, avoided the tiebreaker in straight sets victory.
Yeah, a lot easier on the heart doing it that way, I tell you. Yeah, Alex and Pam played really well off the front, and I didn't have to do too much at all, and yeah, beautiful, off to the big dance now, so awesome.
Yeah, you've got the, I suppose, the extra prize of potentially winning a title, but to be part of Bowls3Five now on Sky Sport, what does that mean to Bowls Hastings?
Yeah, it's huge, you know, the publicity that we'll get out of it will be great, you know, having us on TV, you know, not even for the, I guess, the bowlers at home, but the non-bowlers that, you know, might see it and might, you know, want to get into bowls, you know, that's awesome.
Now coming up against Joe Edwards, Richard Collett and Val Smith, who are obviously the pre-tournament favourites for this. How do you go about beating them now in the final this afternoon?
Oh, yeah, they're an awesome team, and we'll just give it our best shot like we did last night. You know, we got them to a tie break, and so we'll just go give it our best shot and see what happens.
We look forward to that this afternoon. We'll let you get ready.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Dean Drummond there, skip of the Hastings Hornets, who, like Nelson Bowling Club, through to the final of Bowls3Five Interclub finals here on Sky Sport, and also have moved through to the main game and have become the 7th and 8th sides in Bowls3Five later this year. That completes our coverage of the semi-finals, but stay with us. We'll be back around 12:30 for the final of the Bowls3Five Interclub finals.
Today we're making new friends. We're building a community, and we're still doing all the things we love. We're getting the most out of every day. One day we'll rest, but not today.